in. Welcome inside the Prudential Center. I'm Rachel Herzog, and man, has it been a busy day within the National Hockey League. All teams making their final trades before the deadline at 3 p.m. today. And like I mentioned, the Devils will have some new faces within the organization, and we're about to talk about all of those right now. Joining Bryce Salvador and myself is General Manager Tom Fitzgerald. Now, Tom, thank you so much for taking some time to join us here on set. And we can only imagine how busy this time of year is for you, particularly these last 24 to 48 hours. We're just curious if you're able to share, give us an overview of what this time has been like for you and your staff.
Well, really, it starts probably back in December when we get together with all our pro scouts and we start talking about some holes and where do we want to get better and what do we want to add, and then we progress into the new year, and then you get into the final few weeks, and then it's like you're going from first gear to second gear to third gear. Next thing you know, the last couple of days it's like Mach 10 with phone calls and trying to put things together and wondering if people are going to call me back, or is that bid going to be accepted? Are we going to finish first or second? So a lot of energy, but a lot of anxiety as well that goes into it, but a lot of excitement.
Well, you definitely got the ball rolling yesterday, acquiring Brian Dumoulin, a second-round pick from Anaheim, and we knew that you were maybe in the hunt for a left-handed defenseman to kind of round out that D-core. What do you expect to see from him, and what is he going to bring to the table for this Devils team? Well,
he's the ultimate pro. He's a two-time Stanley Cup champ. I've known Brian since I've been was in the Pittsburgh organization. We traded him out of the Carolina organization. He's a puck mover. He's a defender. He's a big body. He's not uber fast, but he's so smart. He positions himself well. He's a jack of all trades. Like he can do everything. But we felt, going out and getting somebody with that experience to replace Jonas was really important.
Well, how important is it, too, that he's here tonight ready to take the ice against Winnipeg? It was a long travel day for him yesterday, but he was able to skate this morning. Obviously, maybe not up to speed with all of the schemes and the systems within this Devils team, but what do you expect to see from him here in Game 1?
To be honest with you, just be yourself.
Yeah.
That's it. Don't be somebody you're not. Come in and be who you are. Do the things you do well, and that's it, and that's why we brought him in.
Well, Fitzy, first off, thanks for joining us. I know you've been running the whole day, and like you said, this was definitely a seller's market, so you have to wait a lot, and I know it can add anxiety, and it seemed like it came down to the wire. You're able to add a couple of forwards, right? Daniel Sprong and Cody Glass. Like, what can you talk about that? I know you've been openly saying that, hey, you're looking to add depth in the bottom six, and so what are you hoping those two guys will bring to the team?
Well, with Cody, he's a very versatile player. He's got good size. He can skate. Again, trying to add more depth in the middle of the ice is something we wanted to do. Like I said, he can play center. He can skate. He's a big body. He's a former first-round pick. I believe he was in Nico's draft, 6th overall. But somebody to come in and create competition with everybody else. With Sprong, here's a kid that he's been able to score at our level. Probably inconsistent. That's why he's not in the National Hockey League right now. But we're going to give him an opportunity to do what we believe he can do. Goal scoring is hard to do. But when you have somebody who can do it, you give those people an opportunity. A couple years ago in Washington, he always played well against us.
Yeah. Well, he's coming off 2 seasons ago, 21 goals. Last season he had 18 goals. I know he's been, not maybe as strong in this season, but definitely that competition you talk about. And I guess if, from a fan perspective, if you're looking at the day and they'll say, well, geez, Fitz, you have lots of cap space, and, were you actively pursuing it? Did you have the okay from the ownership group to go out there and make a hockey trade if it was available? And I'm sure you did, but can you just walk us through, that part of the day?
Well, yeah. I mean, we unfortunately we had cap space, and we all know why. The injuries to Jack have really added to that cap space. Would I love nothing more than Jack Hughes here than more cap space? You're damn right I would. However, we felt, can we take advantage of it? But the reality was, our goal to add had not changed with or without Jack Hughes. We wanted to add center depth. I want to add centers hard, and they take up some time. That's time consuming when you're on one, you're on somebody, and you just keep pushing. Though the things on the side may fall that you want to add, maybe a little more depth, but you stay in that fight. And when you get to the 12th round and it's a decision and you lose that decision, that's heartbreaking, quite honestly. But we were in that fight. We were in a couple fights, and then we were in on scoring wingers who actually decided to sign with their own team. Yeah. Can't control that, right? I can't make people trade with me, but our organization, my team, my staff, we did what we thought we had to do. We tried. But then when you come back at the end of the day and look at, a couple pieces that we had, we feel that with opportunity, these guys can help us.
Well, we know these are pros, right? They go through this every year, right around this time of the year. So it's normal for guys to experience new teams right around the month of March. But for fans that maybe don't know what that does to the locker room, having guys filter in and try to mesh within the team, what do you expect to see from your group in that regard?
Well, I mean, this is a really tight group. They do care for each other. They're extremely tight. And when you start looking, and I asked a question today because we probably could have added a couple other things, but felt like this is the group that got us to this point. And let's let this group, with a little bit of help, continue to take us over the goal line. And that's what we did. But I think when they walk in the locker room, I've been there, when you see your ex-teammates and they're still there, that's a good thing, and they all smile. Yes.
Well, Fitzy, we're not going to cut you loose just yet. This was a lot of really great insight, but we got plenty more to talk about here ahead of this one between the New Jersey Devils and the Winnipeg Jets. So don't go anywhere. We got plenty more coming your way next. And welcome back inside the Prudential Center again alongside Bryce Salvador and General Manager Tom Fitzgerald. I'm Rachel Herzog. Now, Tom, in the midst of all the trades and acquisitions, you and your staff signed an extension with Johnny Kovacevic. And this is a guy that really grabbed a hold of his opportunity at the beginning of the season and never let it go and really stepped up to the plate. He's now very reliable on the back end, playing heavy minutes for this Devils D-corps. What has really impressed you so much about his first season here on and off the ice?
Well, when you make a trade like that, we call those soft trades. Here's a 4th-round pick. We'll bring somebody in with who'll give us some depth. And with opportunity, because of injuries we had in training camp, you realize, oh, that's a pretty good player. And you're like, wow, he's consistent.
Yeah.
He's steady. Geez, he doesn't complicate things. He's physical. Oh, wow, he'll fight. Oh, he moves the puck simple. But he does it game in, game out, game in, game out, and you realize these are hard to come by. And we got a lottery ticket here because we just took a chance on him. But guys like this don't grow in trees. Big right-shot mobile defenseman who can move pucks. And we're really proud that we could ink him to a contract. I know his teammates are extremely excited and happy for him. But having him part of this organization for the next 5 years at least is really a benefit for the organization.
Well, Fitzy, one thing about Kovacevic, and I don't think many people will know if you haven't talked to him, is how smart he is about the game. That's the thing that's really impressed me. When I sit in the locker room talking a few times, how meticulous he is about the details, especially defending on the penalty kill. And so just a little something there that fans don't understand. Like, even though he's a defensive defenseman, there's an IQ that also comes along with that. And so to your point, like, it's been a pleasant surprise. And what can you say about just him even helping Siegenthaler rebound this season?
For sure. I mean, you see the small little things he does, especially on the PK, and how he uses his body to shield defenders off and be able to ice pucks down ice. I think him and Jonas have been a great pair. They both think the game the same way. They value the same things. And Bryce, you know this. I mean, you were a young pro at an organization, then you went to another organization, and then you find your footing and you understand who you are at a certain age and become the player you were. But it took a couple teams, right? And that's what happens with most players. And with Jonathan, we're benefiting from that for sure.
Well, you mentioned how Covey and Siegenthaler were such a consistent D pairing, and Sheldon Keefe spoke this morning saying that Covey will be paired up with Brian Dumoulin today, and he also spoke to the media saying he really values playing consistently as well. So how do you see this D pairing maybe being similar to what you've seen from Siegenthaler and Kovacevic?
Well, I think they're very similar. That's why we went out and got Brian, because of the value he puts in defending. They don't complicate things. I think they'll be good partners for each other. I think, honestly, players like Jonas and players like Covey and players like Brian Dumoulin can play with anybody because they're smart. They keep things simple, and they don't complicate things, and those are the great partners you want to play with, I'm sure, right?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Someone that you predictable, right? You know what you're going to get from them, and especially if there's a veteran, and I know that Covey's even thinking like, hey, I can learn from him, right? So that's the open mindset that he has, and that's critical for somebody that's still trying to, figure out his game and evolve it. And as we kind of now look at just big picture, Tom, I can't even imagine the last couple of months, right? First off, you have an injury to your number one goaltender, then you lose your number one defensive defenseman, then you lose your number one offensive player, then 2 days later you lose your number one offensive player as well, or defenseman. Just how do you compartmentalize that, and what's the message to the team going down the stretch here? Because you guys are sitting in a playoff spot. You still want to make the playoffs. That's the goal. Like, how do you communicate a positive message to the team after all this?
Well, our goals haven't changed. You know, playoffs are our number one goal, and we're in the driver's seat, quite honestly. And my message to the team is you can't control things like that. You just control what you control. Injuries are part of the game. But you got to enjoy what you're doing. You got to have fun. Relax. Do the things you're supposed to do. Follow directions. You know, be committed to one another. And just go play hockey, because we have a good hockey team. We really have a good hockey team, especially from the goal out. And our offense, you know, our special teams are really good, and maybe we'll have to manufacture goals differently.
Well, you say the expectations are the same with Jack now out of the lineup and Dougie going down in the first period of the last game against Dallas, but you could really see that the team was galvanized the rest of the way, making a strong push there to tie that game against the Dallas Stars. So is that encouraging to see from your group, and are they fulfilling those expectations in this short period of time?
And it was heartbreaking, to be quite honest, watching how that unfolded at the end, and it was unfair, but sports are unfair at times. You know, you make your breaks, and we've played well, and we no quit in our game, and I really like where we're at. Like, our record isn't where we all want it to be the last little bit, but our game is actually getting better and better. And you talk to Sheldon after practice; he loves the way we're practicing, and that translates into the game. So, no, again, simplify things, get pucks to the net, keep pucks out of our crease, get bodies and pucks there, and
that part of the game never changes.
It's that simple, right?
Yeah, well, the Devils are definitely looking to build on that right here at home against Winnipeg. I know you've been a very busy man this last week, so thank you so much for taking some time to join us here at the set, and hope you enjoy the rest of the game here tonight.
Thank you.